Welcome back to the Grind, Sleep, Repeat podcast. On today's episode, we are going to talk about the importance of strength training as a hybrid athlete.
Yeah, I think, a lot of people, they set out with hybrid training and they're trying to build muscle, build strength, and they're trying to build their endurance through whatever that endurance event looks like, through running, through biking, through swimming, whatever it is. And it's hard to structure it. And, I don't think that you have to sacrifice building strength and building muscle. Running and lifting can coexist in a program. But just like anything, if you're winging it, it's just not going to work. So what we want to cover today is how do you structure it in a program to actually make progress, not just to wing it, not just to do it and have it be a checklist item. How can you still make progress with your lifting and your running? The best exercises, the best sets, reps, and how do you really structure strength and running together to build muscle and build strength?
Yeah, some of the benefits of incorporating strength training with running is going to be to prevent injury and to help maintain muscle mass. And the reason that we want to make sure we're doing this correctly is because there is such thing as doing too much strength training and too much of the cardio. So finding that perfect blend so that we prevent injury and can hold on to that muscle mass is so important.
Yeah, it's so easy with hybrid training just to say that over time I'm just going to lift more and I'm going to run more and more is better. But with hybrid training, more is not better. Structure is absolutely crucial as a hybrid athlete.
Yeah.
Most people are probably going to be lifting anywhere from like 3 to 5 times a week. Everybody's very different depending on what their goals are. But like Alyssa mentioned, strength training is so important because not only is it going to help us build our bodies, build body composition, build muscle, and improve your look that you're going for, but also it's going to help with injury prevention. It's going to help with muscular endurance. Like I said, with injury prevention, it's going to help you have stronger muscles surrounding the joints, specifically the knees, the hips. There's lots of corrective exercises that you can do, especially because with running, we're going to develop tight muscles. We're going to develop imbalances. We're going to develop mobility restrictions. And all of these things are going to start to add up. And these are things that we can correct through strength training. So it is such a crucial piece, even if you're not looking to build all this muscle, build all this strength. It is such a crucial piece to improving your running. So even if you're listening to this, and you're like, I don't really care about building muscle. Why should I strength train if I'm a runner? It is a huge piece of the program, a huge piece of the puzzle that you can see significant increases in running speed, running performance, running form if you incorporate strength training into your program.
Yeah, there's so many different ways that you can incorporate strength and running based on your goals. You kind of touched on that a little bit, but just to get a little more in depth on that, your goals are going to fluctuate. So you're going to go through phases. If you're anything like us, we like to do, races. So we have a half marathon that we're going to be doing soon. More details coming soon. And, sometimes the focus is going to be more running. And with that, you still have to make sure you're strength training because actually those days become even more important. And you want to make sure you're doing all of the right movements so that on your run days, you prevent injury and have the muscle mass that you need to endure those long runs. But I think that there's fluctuation there. So when you're in these phases that you're training for a race, the strength training portion does come down a little bit. The runs come up because we can't do it all. And there is such thing as doing too much. So, going through those phases and first starting off by saying, okay, what's my current goal? What's realistic for me? Am I focusing on, building muscle? And if I'm doing a race, just know that the goal when you're doing a race is more like I'm trying to maintain that muscle mass. And yeah, it's possible to possibly put on some muscle mass, but when you're running more and only strength training a few times in the week, you're more likely focusing on that maintenance.
Yeah, I mean, periodization is such an important thing for hybrid athletes. We use it in our own program. We use it in the clients that we train here at the gym. We use it with clients that we train online. Periodization is just saying like this block of training, my most important 1 or 2 goals is this.
Yeah.
And if you're signed up for an endurance event, like we're going to be doing a full half marathon prep here coming up soon, which will document the whole thing. We'll talk about it on the podcast, on our weekly YouTube videos. So definitely subscribe if you are not, because we're going to be documenting the whole process. And it's something you could possibly sign up for, a 5K, 10K, half marathon, or whatever that looks like. But transitioning into a little bit more of an endurance goal, we're not going to completely cut out strength training. We're still going to strength train, but we're going to have more emphasis on that block of training on endurance training. And then, once we accomplish that goal, we'll probably go into more of a strength training focus where more of our focus is going to be on strength training, but we're not going to completely neglect or pull out running. With your strength training, remember that you can change these variables up and down. With running, you can change the variables up and down. But for most people, you're going to be lifting probably 3 to 5 times a week. That's kind of the sweet spot. Anything less than 2, yeah, you could get away with if you're in a really big endurance event or endurance prep. But that's kind of minimum for the amount of times that you want to lift a week. Otherwise, you're going to start to lose muscle mass, or you're just not really going to be able to make a lot of progress. So I would say minimum 2 to 3. I wouldn't go any lower than that. Otherwise, you're just not going to be able to maintain or build muscle or maintain strength. And then anything more than 5, I'm not saying that you can't do it, but I think that you can lift 5 times a week and you can make all the progress in the world, and you can be really structured and detailed with those workouts rather than I'm going to lift 7 days a week and I'm going to run 7 days a week and just more is better type of mentality. That's not going to work well with this style of training. So I think 3 to 5 really is a sweet spot. Again, depending on your specific goals, you can set it up a lot of different ways. We actually created a free sample guide on what this could look like. Again, this is just a sample. Everybody's very different with their goals, but if you're interested in checking out that sample and downloading it, it's a free PDF document. I'll leave the link to that down in the comment section below. You can click on that link, go to our website. You can download that for free. And if you are somebody that is looking for more of a structured approach, a more structured program, we do also offer online coaching. So if you're interested in that and you're ready to stop guessing, you want to take out the guesswork, what to do with your workouts, with your nutrition, and how to progress from month to month, we can definitely help you with that. I'll also leave a link to that down in the description below, where you can request some more information on our online coaching program, and we can set up time to chat more about how we can help.
Yeah, and back to the strength training portion of hybrid athletes, we want to make sure that our focus is always on, the quality of the movement, but also progressive overload, and then really focusing on the beginning portion of our workout should always be big compound movements and keeping track of this too. So, always pushing yourself to lift heavier, push yourself to go harder. And I think the second that you let that foot off the gas is where things start to, you start to see muscle loss or things start to become more difficult. So if you can balance the two efficiently, the best thing to do is really focus on bigger compound movements. Maybe it's less reps and heavier sets on those strength training days so that you do have the gas to go into those running days as well.
Yeah, and most of your workouts, like we said, I would pick, no matter how many times you're working out a week, I would pick at least 2 to 3 compound movements at the beginning of the workout that you're going to focus on overloading. Get an app, get a pen and a piece of paper, write it in your notes in your phone, whatever you have to do. Track these sets, your exercises, your reps, your weights. Track everything, and you're going to focus on progression. So that progressive overload is one of the biggest components to not only maintaining muscle, if you're in an endurance block, but also building muscle. So the strength training aspect, progressive overload is one of the most foundational things that if you're not doing, you're shooting yourself in the foot. So picking exercises, like I said, big compound movements, squats, deadlifts, lunges, hip thrusts, Bulgarian split squats, pull-ups, bench press, overhead press, rows, dips, chin-ups, all these big compound movements that train a lot of muscle groups. And no matter how your program is laid out, those are going to be at the beginning of your workout. And like Alyssa mentioned, typically the reps are going to be lower. You're probably going to be training anywhere from 3 to 8 reps. It's kind of a good sweet spot for strength and overload. And you're trying to lift as much weight as possible with good form. You're never sacrificing the form, but you're trying to lift as much weight as possible, overload your muscles, and just get stronger from week to week. As the workout progresses, you've done your 2 to 3 compound movements. And say, for example, you're doing a leg workout and you did a deadlift and you did a hip thrust. Those were your 2 compound movements. You're going to progress and you're going to go into more of your isolation style movements. Things like leg curls, leg extensions, leg presses, calf raises, these types of movements that are isolating the muscles. And this is where you can start to increase your reps, increase the amount of sets that you're doing, decrease rest time, get into supersets, all that kind of fun stuff that we love to program and just nerd out about. But that's where you're going to start to do that. So as the workout progresses, start to increase your weight. You're still focusing on getting stronger, but the focus is more on the volume, on overload, on reaching muscle failure, and really trying to break down muscle tissue in that 8 to 12 rep range. That's really the sweet spot with your isolation and your accessory work. And if you can balance the both of those in your program and not have a bunch of junk exercises, a bunch of junk volume, and just doing exercises for the sake of doing exercises, that's where you're going to be able to build muscle and build strength as a hybrid athlete. We don't want to do 10 exercises on a chest day, and by the time you're done with 3, you're absolutely smoked, and the rest of it is just junk. You want to focus on the intensity and the purpose with every single exercise, with every set that you're doing, because that's how you're going to get the most bang for your buck as a hybrid athlete to build muscle and build strength.
Yeah, and you're focusing on sticking to a program. So, like we mentioned, having a program and making sure that you're progressively overloading at each, workout. You're also sticking with that same program for, whether it's 2, 3 months, however long your prep, if you're training for your half marathon and you're doing a 12-week program, stick with that same program for not just your running, but obviously that you increase your running as you go. But with your weight training, you want to make sure that you're every lower body day, it's on Mondays, it's squats and deadlifts, and then you have all your accessory movements. Stick with that same workout because if you keep switching that up, it's harder to see progress with that and progressively overload on those specific movements. You can always, if you're in a bigger gym and you don't have the leg curl machine, you can always opt to grabbing a ball and doing a hamstring curl, things like that. But it's going to be most beneficial to stick with the bread and butter movements and follow the basic training program that you have set so that you can see progress with that.
Yeah, I think one of the most common mistakes I see people make is they want to do a new workout every time they come to the gym. If you do that, yeah, I get that it can be mentally stimulating, but if you can stick to the boring, mundane, repeat the same exercises for 8 to 12 weeks, at least your compound movements, and you can always switch up like your accessory exercises.
Yeah.
So, your leg curls, leg extensions, leg presses, different stances, different rep schemes, that type of stuff. But the bread and butter movements, if you can stick to that and overload, that's how you're going to make progress. If you're just winging it, you're doing a different workout every single time, every single week, you're not sure where your reps should be, you're not sure where your weight should be, you're just spinning your wheels. You're not making progress. So that's a really good point there that I think you made. Stick to the program, stick to the process. If you're serious about building muscle and building strength, get on a program and focus on overload and focus on actually getting better. Don't just lift weights for the sake of lifting weights, because we know that I got to lift weights to build muscle. You need to have the structure, the reps, the sets, the rest time, everything structured as much as possible to actually see the progression that you want to see.
I think a lot of time too, people are always looking for the next best thing. And what they tend to do is they try something for a week and they're like, okay, I'm bored of this. I'm going to try this next thing. And, even if it's like a class that you're trying, a local class, and you're like, oh, that was fun. I'm going to go try a new class. And you hop around and try different classes, or you hop around and try different online programs, whatever it is. But you're not being consistent with one program and doing that for 3 months to maybe even a year. Give yourself time to allow your body to adapt and make the changes that it needs. Because if you're hopping around, you're never going to see changes. You're never going to see progress.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think that, again, progress is made in the boring, mundane, repetitive, day after day, week after week, month after month, consistent behavior. And if you can do that and be on a structured program, you're going to see a lot of progress as a hybrid athlete. Going back to kind of what we were talking about earlier is, figuring out your main goal with this. Strength training is good for anyone, no matter what your goal is. But if your main goal is endurance, okay, yeah, that's going to take the priority. If your main goal is building muscle, building strength, that's going to take the priority. And, structuring your workouts, your program can look very different. And if your main goal is to build muscle and build strength, then you're going to be running on tired legs. You're going to be sore. You're going to be, maybe you did a leg day and then the next day you have an aerobic run that's a lighter pace. You're still going to see benefit from it, but just understand that it's okay to run on tired legs if building strength and building muscle is your main goal. If you're signed up for a race and you have a specific time that you want to accomplish, and you have a certain amount of time that you have to train for this program, then you're going to structure your workouts differently. And your leg workout should be spaced away from maybe your hardest track workout of the week. Or if you're doing some really intense fartlek interval style workout, then you probably don't want to do a leg day before or after. So again, the whole program design is very important, and it really ties back to your main goals. And just understanding that I think as hybrid athletes, periodization is the best way to go. I don't think you can do both and have an equal importance, but I think you're going to make more progress one way or the other if you can focus on, okay, these 3 months, I'm going to focus on an endurance related goal. Okay, for the next 6 months of time, I'm going to focus on building muscle, building quality strength, trying to be in a caloric surplus and structuring my diet in a way that I can build muscle. Okay, I put on a little body fat. Let's decrease the calories. Let's go into a phase where I try and lean out. It all ties back to your goal, but the main point I'm trying to make here is that you can accomplish everything with hybrid training as long as your program is aligned to your specific goals and you understand what direction you're trying to run in and what are the main goals that you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, you don't want to conflict your strength training sessions with your run. And even like, I actually just kind of revamped my programming this week and I ran into that problem. So I feel like you were like yelling at me. But like yesterday, I did legs, and then today I had a speed work run around the track, and my legs felt heavy, and it was hard because I did try to give max effort on my leg day because I have 2 leg days currently and 2 upper body days currently, and then the 2 days of running. But the biggest thing here is, trial and error. It's going to take some trial and error to figure out what works for you. And if I can give you any advice, it would be to definitely try to split the running and strength training up if you can. We've messed around with this too before where, if we're in a running training prep, we'll go for a run, come back to the gym and try to do a strength training session. And we're both like, okay, like there's like no pump, like nothing's happening here. It was just like a couple weeks ago we did that.
Yeah.
But sometimes that's what you gotta do or, you have the time to do it, and it's like you wanna challenge yourself to do something like that, and there's no wrong way to do that, but just keep in mind when we are doing that, you really have to prioritize your fuel. You have to strategically fuel your body properly, make sure you have enough carbs, make sure you get enough protein in so that you can recover and refuel for that from that run to that strength training session, and then be ready for the next day's workout.
Yeah. Again, this all ties back to your goal. Like we talked about, what is your goal in the gym as far as building muscle, losing body fat, improving performance? Maybe it's a little bit of everything. Okay, now the diet needs to match whatever your goal is. So again, I would say select your goal. What is the most important thing to you right now? Are you trying to become a faster runner? You want to build some muscle, you want to build some strength, and you also want to lose some body fat. Okay, all those things, those could blend together. And we could say over the next year, if I'm 30 pounds overweight, if I lose 20 to 30 pounds, I'm naturally going to be a faster runner. I'm going to improve my VO2 just naturally because I weigh less. Okay, maybe this next 3 to 4 months, we're going to focus on body fat loss. Okay, and then 3-4 months down the road, we've done that. We're going to focus on building some strength, building some muscle for a couple months. And then the next 3 months, you've identified a race that you want to sign up for. Okay, we're going to do a 3-month block where that's going to be the main goal. And over the course of that 9 to 12 month time frame, you've lost body fat, you've built muscle, and you've become more efficient as a runner. You've accomplished all those things. But it's only going to happen if you've set things up accordingly and you've used periodization and you've matched your diet with your training goals. So that's a good segue to talk about diet. We talk about, depending on what you're looking to do, if you're looking to be in a surplus, at maintenance, and a deficit, we could talk, and we have talked an entire podcast about this, but we'll kind of keep it short and keep it brief, but just aligning your diet up with your training goals and making sure that it matches.
Yeah, number one, always make sure you're getting that 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per body weight. Otherwise, you are going to suffer into your next day's workout. You're going to feel that. There's a lot of times that we, like the weekends become challenging for us. They always have been with baseball, kids, going to families and eating over there and not being able to kind of like track where our protein's at exactly. but I can always feel the difference if I'm like, I know I didn't get enough protein in yesterday because the next day the fatigue sets in or you're more sore than you normally would be. And then, if you start tracking that, you'll feel a difference too in your workouts.
Yeah, the diet piece is so important, and not just for take away body composition for a second.
Performance.
Performance, it's so important. Like if you were underfueling your body or you're not eating adequate adequate amounts of protein, adequate amounts of just calories in general, carbs to fuel your workouts, you're gonna under recover. You're gonna break your body down, and
Have
you're not gonna
no
recover.
energy.
Yeah, you're not gonna recover up to 100%. And every workout that you do, say on Monday you're starting off fresh, by Sunday you should be fatigued. Like
Yeah.
that's the idea with training is you're creating a stimulus. You're breaking down your body. And if you're not focusing on your diet and matching it with your goals, that's what's going to happen is you're going to break your body down and you're never going to make progress. So, and then you add your body composition goals on top of that, you need to focus on being in whatever deficit surplus is aligned with your goal. So if you're looking to build muscle and build strength and that's your main goal, then we need to get you in a caloric surplus. We're eating enough calories. You're on a consistent basis, not just one day, but consistently every single day. If you're looking to maintain your weight, but improve your performance and build your strength, okay, then we need to be at more of a maintenance level. Or if you're looking to be in a deficit, we just did a whole podcast about this last week about losing body fat as a hybrid athlete. You have to be careful because if you cut your calories too low, your performance is going to suffer. You're going to lose muscle and it's going to be just hard to train that way. So line your diet up with your specific goals and that's going to help you train harder. It's going to help you recover better. It's going to help you see better progress, both in building muscle and building strength, but also your performance. You're going to be able to go for a run. You're going to have energy in the tank. You're going to be able to get through that workout. Yeah, it's going to be hard. It should always be hard, but you're going to be able to avoid bonking, which we've talked about before. Bonking sucks. That's when you just hit a wall, and no matter how mentally strong you are, you're just crushed. Your body is like, I'm done. I don't have any energy. I'm not going to give you the output that you want. I'm just absolutely toast right now.
Yeah. And I think it's important too that when it comes to recovery, it's sleep, it's mobility, it's food and fuel. It's really honing into what your body needs. And during that certain phase of whatever strength training and running course you're going through, you got to make sure that you're recovering properly so that you have the energy to continue to push through that program.
Yeah. So they go together. Your diet, your program, your overall recovery, everything blends together into a program. And if you're not structuring a program, you're just winging it, you're selling your progress short. So if you're serious about blending lifting and running together, you want to build strength, you want to build muscle, you want to improve your performance, you want to improve your body composition by either building muscle or losing body fat, then we are here to help. This is literally what we do. We are both gym owners here in Nebraska, where we train clients every day, both in person and group settings. We work on nutrition coaching and creating custom diet plans for people. We also offer online coaching. So we work with lots of people that, again, are looking to lose body fat. They're looking to build muscle. They're looking to train hybrid. We've worked with hundreds of clients that have achieved goals like this. So if you're sitting at home and you're listening to this podcast and you're ready to stop guessing and you'd like to start working together, we would love to set up a time to chat more. We have a link down in the description below where you can click on that link. You can fill out a form and you can request more information about our online coaching program and how we can set the structure that you need to see the results that you want. Not just this month, but 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months down the line. Where do you want to be? We can create that structure and build the program out to help you get there. So if you're interested, like I said, the link is in the description below. Definitely go check that out. We'd love to start working with you.
I hope this podcast helps you guys learn the importance of strength training and blending that with running and becoming a hybrid athlete and why you need to incorporate both strength training and running.
Yeah, and if you guys have questions, we'd love to help out any way that we can. Just let us know down in the comment section below. We can get back to you and answer those questions that you have. So thanks for tuning in, guys. And as always, we will leave some videos at the top of the screen to check out next. Go check those out, and we'll see you guys in the next one.